All right. Hey, what's going on, guys? We have a very, very special guest on today's stream, the one and only, the man, George McConnell. George.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
Hey,
Really
man.
appreciate it.
Thank you for coming all the way to Las Vegas.
I know. You tricked me. You tricked me into coming here, but it's okay. I
made him get on this live stream because he's a wealth of knowledge for you guys in marketing. So if you're starting a brand, have an existing brand already established, maybe you're looking to grow, we're going to dive into a couple of different topics that this guy is going to be diving into the weeds with. So if you're watching us live right now, make sure you guys are leaving your comments in the chat, questions that you want us to answer. We have a couple of questions that we pulled up from the last live stream, as well as some of the posts that we make. So we're going to be pulling those up in the middle of the stream, but we're also going to be featuring a couple of your guys' brands. So those of you guys who actually submitted the brand as in the request that I had the other day, we're going to be reviewing your brand. We're going to be dissecting it and giving you guys some positive feedback, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Maybe positive, maybe negative.
You wouldn't let me see him beforehand, so we don't know what I'm going to say.
I told him that he couldn't look at him, guys. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is what we do here. We really empower you to start your brand and business from the ground up. So, George, for everybody out there watching you, listening, hearing you for the first time, tell us a little bit about your background. Today, you do print on demand, you run Etsy, but you have a very big background in marketing. Tell us how you got started there and some lessons that you learned along the way.
Well, a lot of people that do know me, and if you don't, I actually worked for Samsung for over 10 years, and then I worked for Sharp afterwards. I got to start with that company back in 2006 before anybody knew them, and got to grow with them to see how they actually built the business that they have today. Got to work with some amazing marketing teams from the cell phone division to the tablet division. Got to open up and launch their call centers, working on customer acquisition, how they understand and analysis of it. So they really taught me a lot of knowledge, and just from that I was able to expand my businesses that I have now and make a substantial amount of money. So
Samsung, the phone, like we're talking about the Android, Samsung telephone and the tablet. That's what you're meaning when you say Samsung. Not the dishwasher, right?
Well, the dishwasher sucked, but back in the day in 2006, nobody knew them for TVs.
Right, yeah.
And that's when I actually started. So to see how they built that, and they use the same tactics over and over. And marketing hasn't changed in like 60 years. So it's the same tactics. And they use that for the phones. They used it for TVs. They used it for their tablets, so on and so forth. I mean, they're the leading industry in everything, technology-wise. So
one of the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
So some of the lessons, what were some of the key lessons that you learned from Samsung actually, after Samsung, what was the first business you launched? And what was one of the lessons that you learned from Samsung that helped you launch that first business?
So I actually had businesses ever since I was like in the third grade.
Okay, tell me more about that. I didn't know that. Well, I'm learning in real time, guys.
So in the third grade, I actually used to sell those little Cabbage Patch cards. Okay. So my cousin would buy the whole pack. He would have them, and any doubles, I would buy them from him, sell them to kids for 25 cents, then go get some gumballs. By the time I got to the sixth grade, I actually had somebody sign me up for their eBay account, and I created my own plan on how to turn any TV into a 100-inch screen. Pretty much what you do is you take a box, okay, flip the TV upside down and just have a magnifying glass in it, and it shows on the wall as a 100-inch screen.
Wait, so you magnified the TVs?
Yeah, I learned that actually from my grandmother. So I was like, oh, that works. And she said, yeah, we used to do that back in the day with our 5-inch screens. So I took that, wrote the whole entire tutorial, threw it on eBay, and made $2,000 that summer.
Selling a guide on how to flip the TV over and put a magnifying glass on it?
And no negative reviews either. Everybody was really actually happy about it. So, but, going over, obviously I launched more businesses. And right before I actually started Etsy, I had a cell phone business, made 6 figures, made some pretty good money with it. Just wasn't enough until...
What kind of cell phone business was that?
It was just a cell phone case.
Cell phone cases?
Yeah, because, working for Samsung for so long, I thought I had to do something technology-wise. So I had cables, I had cell phone cases, things like that. And I just felt like that's where I had to be. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I took the leather from the cell phone case, threw it on Etsy, and it sold out in a day. So I took $100, started buying more, faux leather and things like that, and it just took off from there. And I realized later on by listening to this guy, Jesse Itzler, if you've ever heard him,
he's awesome.
He actually said how he made all his money was by an industry that he didn't know or understand. I understood technology. and all of that and how to sell that. But I wasn't making enough. I didn't know shit about leather. And because of that, it made me so much money so much faster because I did it the way I thought it should be done.
You weren't thinking about like, you were thinking about, hey, how should I sell this leather in a way that's more of a tech type of play, like
exactly
sexy and like it's clean, it's good descriptions. Tell us a little bit about that first business. So you sold leather, but it was, you would import the leather and then you would distribute, you sell it on Etsy, Shopify. What was the channels there?
So I started with Etsy and then I went to Shopify. But what's crazy is I only started with the 100, and I bought actually the faux leather from Hobby Lobby. And I would do it with their 40% off that they don't offer anymore.
Yeah, yeah. They caught on to you. They caught on to this guy.
I would have, the glitter. I'd have the faux leather. I'd get cork and I'd cut it into shapes and sizes and sell it that way. And then as I earned more money, I started trying to find manufacturers and found one in South Korea and one that I actually knew because of Samsung. So started ordering from them and then just went from there, started in my living room, threw out my couch because I was making so much money, had to make room. Right. Next thing you know, a year in, I already had 3 warehouses.
Wow. So you literally cut up your couch and resold it on Etsy. That's
pretty much.
So it was a leather couch and he was like, yo, you could flip this and make $1,000 right now.
There's video of me literally like throwing it off my balcony because of how much money was coming in so fast. I could not care at that point.
Wow, interesting. So what do you think was one of the lessons that you learned early on in marketing that allowed that business to have success early on? Like what was 1 or 2 lessons that you applied that you're like, yo, I'm going to try this and I'm going to do it this way because of what I learned with Samsung and Sharp?
Customers want value, no matter what they're buying. They'll spend any amount of money for emotional connection and value, perceived value. So if you can make them think that they're getting something that's worth extremely more amount of money than what they're paying, they will drop that money instantly. It's just, they feel like they're getting a deal no matter what. So why not hit that buy button?
I like it. So let's explain value here for a second, guys. We got a water bottle here and it's got no label, right? So if I were to try to sell this for $20, would you buy this for $20?
All right. So here you go, right? You take this water bottle, right? By itself, $5. Maybe we can get $5 for that, right?
Maybe on the strip.
Maybe on the strip.
But here, $1.
But if I take this and I put this in the hands of a fitness model and I take that picture, she's holding it. It's now a fitness accessory, and I can sell it for $35.
$35 water bottle from a
maybe it needs to look a little better than this, but
shape.
That's how that works in the perceived value. You target a certain customer, you tell them the value of it based on the picture that you're displaying.
So you're displaying a $35 water bottle,
and
then on the back end, when a customer gets that $35 water bottle, what should they be experiencing?
Well, instantly they would think at that point, that's my fitness accessory. I need to work out. I need to look good. And I got this water bottle because I do work out, even if they don't.
So it's that motivating factor, or they want to have that cool factor when they do go to the gym.
Yeah. They want to feel like they're part of something. That's why how many people have Lululemon, leggings. Mm-hmm. I mean, half those people don't go to the gym or work out. So
it's all about that perception of like, I am doing this. I'm a part of this club. I'm a part of this community. Okay.
And then they may even just go to the gym and just,
just to hang out. Yeah.
Or just, go to the sauna and then that's it and be like, oh, take a picture of themselves with a selfie going, oh, I worked out today.
And that's why the gyms are now installing saunas, massage chairs. Yeah. Like you're just going there to hang out, right?
Exactly. I mean, sometimes.
Yeah.
No, I don't hang out there. I actually work out.
No. I know, me too. But I see all these like options and they're always upselling. It's like an upsell for the gym. And I'm like, who actually goes there? And I only ever see the people that don't work out in there. Like I use it afterwards, but I do see a lot of people that just walk straight in there and then they leave. I'm like, oh,
yeah. My wife goes there and just tans. Yeah. So
it's an added benefit.
She does actually work out. So she's with me today. So I have to be nice.
We're gonna be very nice. She's watching behind the scenes right now, taking some cool B-roll. I appreciate it. Thank you. We're gonna post that on stories. No, so obviously that lesson of water bottle transformation, right? So you got a regular water bottle. If it has no label and no branding, no marketing behind it, you got $1. But if you can do the right marketing, you sell it for $30 if it's the right audience.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, it comes from a faucet.
It's free.
Yeah. and people sell water bottles for a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple celebrities that even started water brands. I mean, 50 Cent, for instance, he started a water brand because he said, oh, wow, you can make money from water. I can just literally fill it up in a faucet and sell it.
Yep.
That's all it comes down to, is just how you make that item look and who you're selling it to. Who are you targeting in this case? That's it.
Incredible. So obviously, like, you had your break with a leather product that people weren't necessarily doing on Etsy at the time. So a lot of people watching may say, well, it was a fluke. You found an underserved area.
Well, actually, it was huge.
Okay.
I took it over.
You took it over.
I did.
Okay. What tactics did you do to take over a market that was already established?
So with that, there were a lot of people, and it was because of craft supplies. That's why they actually bought it. So you're selling the crafters. But the way that they were taking the pictures, one, didn't make the leather look luxurious at all. And two, when they received it, it pretty much came in like a little poly mailer, and that's it. So I had it with a nice cardboard, piece that didn't bend or fold, because they're crafters. They don't want something that looks like garbage, and having it better quality, making sure that it's thicker than the traditional leather that they were being supplied. And then on top of that, a thank you note where I would handwrite thank you and their name. That right there just took it over.
That's incredible, man. That's such a cool story that you're saying, because my wife, actually, when she was in college, this was like 2011, 2012 Etsy, and she established an Etsy account, and like, we had heard about Alibaba, so we were like, oh, there's a market for a lot of these crochet, like, blankets, like wall tapestries. And she's like, oh, why don't I take this like bohemian, this boho type of tapestry, and let me add hooks to it, so then college girls can put it on their dorm. And then she made a YouTube video on how to do that. So she said, hey, this is how you could do this for your own dorm. If you don't want to do any of this work, go buy it on Etsy. Yeah. And then she had her Etsy link there, so the sales would come in through the video. But then on the back end, she would take extra care of what it was, right? So even though she was getting it from Alibaba, she would wash it, and she would like put a certain scent to the detergent. So she'd wash in bulk at the laundromat, just throwing all these tapestries in there. And then she would just quickly customize it, package it, $50 tapestry versus a $15 one or a $10 one on Amazon. But as soon as everybody got it, it was an experience. It was bundled nicely with a note, and it was that thank you card, and girls would leave reviews like, oh my God, it's the most little beautiful thing I've ever gotten. Yeah, that little handwriting thing that I did blew up. It's incredible. And then just like, the packaging, like you said with your wife, taking it just that little step further is what these customers really value, because people don't do that anymore. No. Even Amazon now, it's just like a plain box. Or sometimes they're just like, here, you want it? No box. I got something without packaging. Here's another thing that I used to do, which I don't do anymore, obviously, POD. But during Valentine's Day, I bought all of the candy hearts, and I stapled the candy hearts to every single receipt. Interesting. And my reviews went up like crazy because of that. Wow. It's like that. And if they spent over a certain amount of money, I would actually take the ones where you can write to, and I'd put their name. Oh, that's cool. So it was those little different marketing things, but just like your wife, the way that package came and made them feel. Made them feel like they received something of higher value than what they paid. Yeah. Exactly. And then when they see the reviews and they're like, this is incredible, like it just it reassures it. And then that's, unfortunately for her, she scaled too quickly, and Etsy was like ordered stuff and was like, wait a minute, where did you buy this? And she was like, I bought it from India. Well, the funny thing is the scaling too fast, even without that, Alibaba or India, wherever you get stuff, there is such a thing in business that you can scale too fast either way. Because if you don't know who you're targeting, don't know what you're doing, you just start throwing things out there, you could scale too fast too. So, that may not have been the case in that, but so many businesses fail because of that. Because they try to do too much too quickly. Okay. So then your first business, leather, we've already dropped a lot of gems here, guys. Marketing, the way that you're delivering the product. A lot of times, a lot of you guys, when you launch, you have like a mock-up, a basic imagery, a flat lay. It doesn't really portray anything that would demand the price that you're charging. So taking that extra step of really creating that lifestyle imagery, and then the delivery of that product, how do they actually get it? What is their experience? Because ultimately, that's the reason why people talk, right? Like if they get something and they love it, and then somebody asks them, hey, where'd you get it? And they'll be like, oh, this girl or this guy sold it to me. Like, they'll talk to their friends about it versus like, oh, I got it on Amazon or I got it on Etsy. It's all good. Like, and that word of mouth is so much more important and
so much more value too, because with say Etsy ads or Facebook ads, you pay for that, right? And you have to do it's like a cold email, right? They don't know who you are. But when they're learning from friends and family, like, oh, I got it from so-and-so online, they trust that person. If that person posts it on their Facebook or Instagram, they trust that person. They follow it. So you make a ton more money with that advertisement than you do, through maybe Facebook. That's why influencers are so important when you're giving them stuff and then they showcase it to all their subscribers.
Right.
Because they trust their opinion.
And then they like one of the terms is key opinion leader, right? The other day somebody was like, who's the KOLs, KOLs? I'm like, KOLs, that's a term from China, right? I haven't heard that before.
No, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, so KOL is what they're calling influencers in China and Asia. So it's key opinion leaders. So they don't call them influencers.
Oh, okay. I actually just read that the other day. Yeah, now they need degrees.
Yep. They need degrees. So if you're a key opinion leader and if you're talking about anything in education or in anything, you need a degree. So
I didn't know that they actually had an acronym for it.
So
but yeah,
if we were in China, I wouldn't be able to talk about it. I think you could, right? Because you got a degree.
I don't have a degree.
Oh, so we wouldn't be allowed to be on this podcast, right?
I mean, if you technically you could consider 10 years a degree, right?
Right. So, yeah. Well, how do they classify it? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you obviously you've grown within the space of leather, and then how did you get in? So right now, for those of you guys watching, if you're just joining us, we got George McConnell, and if you're watching us in the chat, make sure you guys drop a question. We just delivered so many amazing gems here. Drop a question that you'd like us to answer. Our team will be answering in the chat throughout this live stream. We have a couple questions that we queued up that we'll play in a little bit. So, and then for those brand owners that submitted their site, we're going to be reviewing it in real time. We may or may not. I think we're going to be honest. If it's nice or bad, please excuse us.
I'm sorry in advance. Okay.
We're gonna have fun with it. We're gonna deliver you guys value in real time. So, so you started with the cell phone case. How did you get to print on demand? So I know like we met within Printify, which was the Printify Amplified event. That's how I met George, and then he came out to Vegas, and we're here doing this live stream today. I really enjoyed learning about his background in marketing. And when you had success with your leather business, why t-shirts and why print on demand? And a lot of people watching are probably thinking, is print on demand even something you can market and make money with? So how was that shift for you, and how did you look at it differently?
So the shift was a little difficult because I was so used to a physical business. So actually touching a product, I do order a ton of samples just because of that. But with a physical business, I had to have warehouses. So I had 3 warehouses, and when I tell you the cost is high, you obviously know the cost is high to have that. Then you have items that just don't sell. And because it's physical, you see it day in, day out. So shelves filled with crap that's not leaving, and you spent money on it. And the realization came when I did Christmas, and I thought I was going to make so much money. I jam-packed it with all this stuff. I spent over $100,000 on leather material for Christmas, and it didn't sell.
$100,000, it didn't sell.
Yeah, I sold, but not to what I thought it would.
Yeah.
And knowing that I had to keep that there for another year in hopes that it does sell was just life-changing. I needed to change something. I needed to do something that allowed me to not have to deal with that crap. And that's when I found out about print on demand. I wish I would have found out about it a lot sooner. I didn't do it till 2022. But once I did, I was like, oh my God, I can, because I started looking into 3PLs. This is how I stumbled on it. I was like, I'm going to get rid of my warehouses, have a 3PL carry all my stuff and just ship it for me. And then that's how I stumbled on the print on demand.
Because you were looking for somebody else to ship and warehouse your goods.
Yeah, so I didn't have to spend, the $10,000 on warehouses and employees and all that stuff to deal with it on a daily basis.
What were some of the things you learned with your search on 3PL that you were then just like, you know what, why don't I just do this on print on demand? So what were some of the downsides to 3PL in your opinion?
Shipping times. If your volume is lower than some of the other people, they will prioritize those people over you. And that's what a lot of the reviews were. I ended up finding a great company in Utah. They were brand new. They were very adamant about getting, new people in there. But my fear was that if they grew too big, they may end up like one of those other 3PL companies.
So they prioritize other people doing bigger volume over years if you're not doing as much. That makes sense. And then when it comes to, so now you realize, okay, this is still some issues I may have on deliverability ability of that product, and then you looked at print on demand and it was like no inventory, absolutely no risk. What was your first stab at it, and how did you approach it?
So I went after 3 niches. Excuse me. That was to, really dial into who I could target on Facebook, and also what's something that can consistently make me money. So a lot of things that you launch are up and down, right? But there's 3 things that are always consistent and people will spend money on, and that's weddings, babies, and birthdays. They happen all year round. So weddings are huge in the summertime, not so much the winter. But what's popular in the winter? Babies, because they're always there, right? And then birthdays as well, because you never know. There's always a birthday. And those are 3 things that you can easily target with Facebook ads that allow you to dial into friends of friends, or somebody that just got married, or somebody that's a newlywed, or somebody that's planning their wedding, so on and so forth. The more I can dial into the customer, that means that that's where I wanted to go. So that's how I chose my niches.
Got it. So you chose niches that were going to be in demand year round, right?
Yeah. And so what if one was going up and then it started going down, there was still there, because the whole point of having a business is to always be increasing. You can flatline and stay level, and that's cool. You'll get some money. But if you have something that's up and down like a roller coaster, and you never know, okay, well, I'm going to get a paycheck this week, but maybe not next, that's very stressful. And you don't want to deal with that. Yeah. And usually, there's a good rule of thumb that you should at least be going up 10% each and every single year. So there's always, a lot more babies being born every year.
Right. Interesting. That's a very good approach. And I always recommend people kind of look into that seasonality of things too, especially when they're trying to go into a commoditized business, right? Like if they know that they're going to be selling a certain product this is for summer, right? And I'm like, okay, what happens after swimwear? Like, what are you going to offer after you have the swimwear line? It's mainly in the summer. You're going to sell internationally? Probably not for your first drop. Like you might want to focus on the US. So you have a small window there. So what other items can you have, right? Whether it's jewelry or accessories or bags or shirts, or, some a good crossover into the athleisure. But a lot of times people don't think about that. They're just like, yo, I have money. I know I have some cool designs. They start selling it. They do really well in the summer because they have some really sick designs, great fabric. And then after the summer is gone, they're like, oh shit, we need to find new markets where it's still summer. And then they try to focus on international expansion without getting their base settled. So I find that a common issue within apparel a lot of the time. So
it's a common issue throughout anything, really. There's always going to be ups and downs, especially trends. How I always look at it is, if you go after a trend, you're chasing money. And if you're chasing money, it's going to run faster than you can, because you never know when that trend is going to come and when it's going to go. Now, a perfect example would be fidget spinners. You remember that?
Yep. The ones that
they made a ton of money, and people saw that. But by the time they saw it was making money, and you ordered it and you received it, it was gone.
Yeah.
And that's a trend for you, because you never know when it's going to take off, and you also never know when it's going to die. Right. And it could come back too. Right. So it's like, that's a huge gamble that I'm not willing to take.
Okay. So print on demand, you looked at it differently. You said, what niches are going to support me year round? So once you identified those, what was next there? What did you do differently that other people maybe didn't think about doing at the time?
Mockups, pictures, perceived value of how much that item is worth towards that person. So many people online, they use either the basic mockups from just the print provider, or they just buy something online. Issue is when you buy it online,
everybody else has it.
Exactly.
It looks exactly like everybody
so
else.
When you're on, like, say, Etsy, for example, and you're scrolling through, it's the same person over and over wearing the same shirt. And what happens with that is, say that they had a bad experience with a company. You don't read, because we're visual people now. We're no longer read. So you see that picture and another company's picture that's using the same one, that customer's putting that company that they just had a bad experience with that picture. So they may not purchase it, and they may just skip over it just because of that.
Right, subconsciously, like, screw that
exactly guy. Plus also it all blends in, so maybe some customers may not think like that, but as you scroll through and you just see the same thing over and over, same person, same mock-up, same model, it kind of blends all together, and it just looks like
competing on a price.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Now usually it's this blonde girl with her legs crossed,
exactly
cell phone right in front of it. Just imagine if you put a brunette in between one of them. Right. As you're scrolling, you're like, oh my God, boom, brunette. Like, instantly you see that, you click on it. Right. And one thing that I would always do with, like, babies is using the names that are popular for that year. because they change each year. So use a popular baby name. So when they're scrolling through and they go, oh, wow, I just named my child this,
Right. Or
I
I've
want to
heard of
click on,
this name.
you get that emotional connection. Or if they're going through your store and seeing it and then they see their kid's name. Now they may not like that color, but it starts making them think, well, that's my baby's name. I can put it on a color that she likes.
Oh, so it's even all this subliminal messaging that you do within your mockups. Like if you're going to have Zion on there, or if it's a popular name, like I think what was the most popular name last year was Elijah. I think Elijah was one of the top, right? Yeah. So like being on top of the trends of what's happening within that niche is important in order for you to market to.
Yep. And then last names, if you're going after weddings, same thing, same concept.
Interesting. How do you find the most popular last names though?
Just look up popular surnames.
Really?
Yeah.
Aren't they all the same? Aren't they all Santos?
Or
Sanchez?
Well, I wish McConnell was one, but it's not. So.
Sanchez or Rodriguez. No.
Williams is actually huge.
Williams, is it?
Yeah. Yeah. If you ever look at the top people that are making a ton of money with weddings, they use Williams.
Wow.
And Johnson.
Why do you think that is? Is that like Midwest? It's a lot more customers?
I have no idea, but they buy. So
interesting. Okay, you're just like, hey, this sells. Williams it is.
A lot of people are going to Williams weddings because mostly for that, it's gift givers.
That makes sense. So, people that are that makes sense. Oh, no, this is incredible. Little nuggets here again. If you're new viewer to this channel, make sure you subscribe. We're also going to be linking George McConnell's YouTube down below, and we got some very special news at the end of this. So make sure you guys are sticking around. He's launching a new channel, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Oh, just a little teaser. We're not going to share much, but there's a reason why he's here, and we're having a good time. So let's switch gears a little bit. So you had the opportunity to obviously work for a great company. You learned a lot in marketing. You were able to apply those lessons to your first business and now to multiple Etsy shops. Throughout that time, what were some of the things that you personally had to maybe overcome or adapt, or whether it's in mindset, whether it's in your way of outlook of life? What were some of those things that maybe aren't necessarily just on the tactical side, but more on the personal side? What were some of the things that you needed to overcome? And like, for example, for me, I felt like the biggest thing I needed to overcome was almost like not necessarily the self-doubt, but like, coming from a background of parents that came from Mexico, right? They're Mexican immigrants in the 80s, 70s. And we always had a certain lifestyle, right? And we always grew up in a certain way. So I think subconsciously I was always pounded to think a certain way. When you start your business and you go off on a journey, you're pretty much out there with nobody else around you, right? So entrepreneurship can be a lonely journey. So for me, it was about rewiring the mindset of an immigrant that's coming here to survive and start thinking about ways to thrive, right? And that's a very tough mental battle I think a lot of people go through if they're like second generation. But what were some things that maybe you had to overcome just throughout your journey in entrepreneurship, from going from career to now a business owner? What were some personal things you had to overcome, and how'd you overcome them?
Well, very similar. I didn't immigrant here. I'm actually born here, but my father didn't have any money. We grew up with no, heat or hot water. I knew the struggles. He worked 3 jobs, didn't get to see him. And just like you said, the loneliness and am I going to make it? And so many people put you down throughout there. I think that's actually what made you stronger, and actually what made me stronger, because we pushed through it. You'll have teachers say, oh, well, you're not smart enough, or you can't do this, or, all these different things of people that you look up to putting you down. Even my father would say on a daily basis, like, that's just not for us. That's not in our cards. Like, other people have that, not us. And I would always ask questions, why? So like you said, like, just that dedication to know that you're going somewhere. If you can dream it, you can do it, right? If you put it in your head that I can achieve this, and that's all you care about, it doesn't matter, because life is going to hit you and it's going to beat you down. You're going to be on the ground. You are not going to be able to move. Most people will stay there. And if you can get up, and I always tell people online, on my channel, my community, just crawl. Like, a baby step is better than just sitting there and taking it. And sure, there's some days that, like, I got hit so hard I wanted to just lay there in bed and not do it, but I still got up because I knew I had a dream. I had this vision in my head that I would have all of this, and there's still more. You never want to end. You want to keep on going. But it's just that, where am I going to go and who am I going to prove this to? And if you think that you have to prove that to somebody else, you're wrong right there. You should be proving it to yourself that you're good enough and that you deserve to live the life that you dreamed of.
Incredible, man. Because I think that's why, like, I always relate, and I love talking to people like you, because there's like a level of groundness, right? And there's nothing wrong with coming from a background where you do have the leg up, and like, hey, your parents were successful and now you're successful too because of your parents. Sometimes people think about it like that. You have successful parents, that's why you're successful. But the parents, the reason there are some successful parents that have very bad kids that don't amount to anything, right? So like, that's also the reality, is like you can have successful parents and you're a complete loser. But the parents that are successful, that have successful kids, also raise them a certain way, right? And it's that discipline of raising kids and like trying to change that mindset, because it really is an ongoing. For me, it was realizing that like nobody's going to do anything for you. You got to do something for yourself, right? And you got to stop feeling sorry for yourself. You got to go out there and you got to get it. You got to be motivated, like you said. And it was also about getting around other people that kind of had that same mentality, right? Because when you grow up in the hood, you really are a product of your environment. So like the most common people around you, is the average of those is what you're going to be. So it sometimes takes stretching out of that circle and going into a bigger circle where people are super successful and you're like, why am I here, right? And it really begins by bringing something to the table, right? So I think like those are some of the biggest opportunities for me in my journey, was being able to bring something to the table where even though people had hundreds of millions of dollars, like they wanted to take me out to dinner to learn more, right? So like I always feel like when you have a certain skill that you can really market, you can create, whether it's marketing, whether it's photography, videography, whether it's art and design, a lot of you guys have a skill set. And sometimes it's so untapped because you don't want to share it. When you start to share it, opportunities open for you. And I think entrepreneurship isn't a one-way road. You could start with apparel and you could start with a certain business you want to launch, and then you realize, wow, there's so many of these other options I could take too. And oftentimes people just don't think about it that way. They're just like, I want to do this, don't talk to me unless I get this off the ground.
And going back into that, two things I always live by, well, three, is one, you should always blame yourself for everything. So many people want to blame others for their failure when at the end of the day, it's yours. And what you should be doing for yourself is live life. It happens for you, not to you. And so many people think, okay, well, this is happening to me. Like, why is this, why did I fail this business? It happened for you because it's teaching you what not to do the next time that you launch your next business. And so many people don't look at it that way.
They just sulk in the failure versus like, what are the lessons I could have extracted from this?
And then another thing is, what if? Like, that's my third thing. What if? I don't live life with what ifs. I rather fail than have myself sitting there when I'm 90 going, what if I would have taken that opportunity? What if I would have done this? And instead of saying, what if I would have failed? What if I would have succeeded? And if you start doing those three things, you will have that empowerment to keep going no matter what, even on the days that you don't want to. And I mean, I've experienced them. I know you've experienced them. Even people watching right now have experienced it. But those three things will keep you going and motivated.
Dude, that's incredible, man.
The blaming yourself thing is really hard.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, as soon as you start blaming yourself, things get a lot better because you're the one that's in control of everything.
Right. Especially when you're running a business, everything, even though you have other people that are working for you or with you, like ultimately you're in charge, right? Like you can't just place blame on anybody. It's like, what could I have done differently to maybe train that person differently or thought about this process in a different way? So incredible, man. So right now I want to switch gears. We want to go in and we're about to highlight some of your guys' brands. I asked about a week ago to submit to my Instagram. So if you guys are following this channel, but you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you guys head on over there to John X Santos. Submit your brand link for the upcoming live stream. We're going to be doing these once a week for the remainder of the year up until Christmas. I want to get into a good habit of us having incredible guests like George on. He's got his own YouTube channel. George, where can they find your YouTube and your Instagram?
So you can do George D. McConnell. My Instagram is, I just changed it, The Real GDM.
The Real GDM.
Yes, that is that.
Okay.
And if you look up George McConnell online, you'll find me. There's two people. There's a guitarist that's dead, and there's me. I'm
He's
obviously
alive.
not the dead one. So,
but he also plays guitar.
I do not play guitar.
All right, so let's head on over to the brand review. Let's do that real quick. I want us to dive into this. So these were people that submitted their brand to us, George. So you know, they said, hey, I'm a little anxious. Like, let me know when you know, like just you I told them we were going to be honest. I said we're going to be honest with your brands. So let's pull up the House of Raj. Is that one up right now on screen? Oh, so he's going to be viewing this one right on my phone because we don't have it connected to the TV. House of Raj. Here it is. So I'm looking at it I glanced at it before, but he's going to be diving in. So right out the gate, what George is going to be looking at is overall, like, he's going to give some feedback on what the website looks like. And then I'd love for him to give insight into how they could improve the marketing and branding. And instead of it getting no sales, maybe getting that first sale or 100. So we'll give him a little bit there. And while you guys are watching, make sure you guys are leaving your questions in the chat. The team's going to be answering them as we go live. And if you're catching us on the replay, leave a comment. Leave a comment down in the video right below that description and subscribe button so that we can answer it in the future live, because we're going to be going live every single week. And if you guys haven't taken advantage of the free game that we share on the email list, make sure you guys check out fromthegroundup.io. That's going to be where you guys can get all your freebies, a monthly newsletter, and free Shopify themes, and a lot of information that George is sharing. So, all right.
So I am very blunt. I am very straight to the point. So I apologize if I say anything mean, but it is for you. I promise you, I'm not trying to guide you in the wrong direction. I want you to succeed as fast as possible. So I don't sugarcoat anything. I just get right to it and let you know what to change and how to make this better. So the first thing, it says House of Raj, clothing code, disrupt the ordinary, bold, edgy House of Raj. And then the first item here is Air Force. Second item is disrupt the galaxy. Third one is frequency born. Then you have army scans, and you have crown of thorns. It's already all over the place because I have no idea what target audience you're going for or who you're actually trying to sell to, because it's just all over. The colors are different. You know, you have one that's black, Air Force, obviously. Then you have disrupt the galaxy. It's bright purple and green. And then on top of that, because this is a Shopify account, you just have way too much in the context of the actual title. It says Air Force scans, different inspired heavy blend hoodie, comfortable unisex sweatshirt. Sorry, not sweat.
That's a long name. That's a product name.
Patriotic gift, military apparel, casual style, perfect for. And then it says ... So I'm like, what? I don't mean to swear, but like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm confused. So I click on it, and then it shows the front of the sweatshirt because you were showing the back. So now I'm confused as soon as I land on that page. So there's just a lot going on here. What I feel like this person needs to do is really figure out what customer they want to dial in on and target it that way, because the designs are going to be different for each person. A person that's looking for like army inspired type of things, which by the way is trademark, so you have to be careful with it, is going to be completely different than, you know, crown of thorns, right? It's completely different type of person. Then the color aspect, black, and then you have a bright purple with green. On top of that, once you get to it, there's no lifestyle photos. So you're not seeing somebody wearing it. You're not getting the sense of you wearing it yourself. You're just seeing a basic mock-up of a shirt, and it's $50 plus probably shipping. Nobody's going to really spend that if you don't dial into that person.
I'm looking at this for the first time. I didn't even see the designs. I just saw the homepage earlier today when I pulled it up. And yeah, these designs are everywhere. I think because you have multiple hits, I would assume that the pricing has a lot to do with the fact that you have 3 different hits. So your price point on a print on demand product is going to be pretty high out the gate, depending on the blend too. And aside from that, yeah, like it doesn't necessarily say, well, who this is for. So it says Air Force, like you said, disrupt the galaxy. Is that a Space Force play?
Yeah, I'm not really sure where that's going. But here's the big thing that everybody need to understand is when you're building a brand is you want people to come back and buy, right? I mean, 22% of my money comes from repeat buyers, people coming back and purchasing more again. So if you could target that customer and get more sales coming back and more people coming back and telling their friends and family, so on and so forth, they'll come back too. That's how you make more money and you grow. And you know what? A big thing is if you're selling apparel, I mean, people go up and down in weight all the time. So you'll be selling an XL maybe one day, and hopefully they get smaller. Maybe they're going to get bigger. I mean, either way, it's a win for you.
It's another brand dollar. It's another dollar for your brand. And House of Raj on its own just doesn't really give me any feedback on what it is.
So I would think that
HouseofRajLLC.com.
Yeah, and I suggest that you look at a website like themeforest.net. They have themes that you can actually purchase, download. They'll, help you with everything, make it look pretty. You could do apparel, you could do any sort of product wise, but the theme may cost you maybe $50, lasts forever. They always update it. I've been using Theme Forest for Shopify themes forever. And I've always used Ella. That's the one was my go-to and still is. They are great at updating things, but there's thousands on there that you
thousands of different websites themes from themeforest.com.
Yeah, themeforest.net.
Yeah,
it's the same people that actually own Place It.
Right.
It's Avento or Avento, whatever it's called. Yeah. So I mean, it's a reliable company, great, themes, and it's also adaptable. Mobile so friendly. It goes right to any mobile phone, tablet, things like that.
That's a good point. So right out the gate, you can improve the quality of your presentation by having a better theme, because sometimes a lot of people just use the free themes on Shopify.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the free themes on Shopify?
I think everything that's free is free for a reason. Yeah. It looks like crap.
It looks like shit. Okay. So thank you, Raj, House of Raj. Thank you. Hope that note really provided some insight for you. So the biggest takeaways is make sure you understand who you're trying to target. So we have a bunch of different military things. One thing George said there about that was you should be careful because it is trademarked. It is a trademark. Army, Air Force, those are trademark words. You could play on designs and make it seem like, service member, and there's like an airplane or some cool design where people know, oh, that's a military, Air Force. So you could do better with your designs overall. Your theme of your website is very rudimentary, so improving that, and then just giving clarity and shortening up the product names. I don't understand why that was like 5 paragraphs actually.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be on Shopify. Shopify is very particular with that because it's going to read your description. That's how Google works on that.
So keep it simple, keep it clean, and be descriptive with I didn't see many information about the blends or any about the fabric. It didn't sell me on anything in the product description either. And
I mean, honestly, I didn't even get past it.
Yeah, you left.
So, yeah, I would have left as soon as I saw that. And it just, that's what happens, and that causes a bounce rate. And when you cause a bounce rate, Google's going to stop showing you as much, right? So they're going to rank you less and less, and nobody's going to go to page 50 on Google. So you have to make sure that you get that person inside your website and you keep them there the entire time. The longer they stay, the better you will be ranked, the more value you're offering.
Oh, incredible insight. Okay, so now let's pull up the second site. It's the TBMLV. Let me know when you got it up there, Yasir, and then I'll show it over to the man, George. And for those of you guys watching, okay, we got it up on screen right now. For those of you guys watching right now, make sure you guys submit your brand for a review in a future live. We're going to review it live next week. So if you submit it now, we'll review it live next week. All right.
Are you usually nice with these? Because they're going to be like,
oh, no, it was good.
George is on again.
It was good what you said, man. Go.
All right.
We're being honest. We're being transparent. We really want to deliver value. So hopefully you guys don't take that in the wrong way. The whole goal is to help you guys grow. And anytime that I go for somebody for feedback and they tell me, hey, you did great. I'm like, what could I have done better? And they say, nothing. I always realize that they probably didn't pay that much attention to begin with. Like if somebody pays attention to something, be like, you could have done this a little bit better. And I really appreciate that myself. What was really cool to see about that is I was actually interviewing the president of Alibaba, and the president of Alibaba was the first time he ever was interviewed by people outside the media, like whether it's all the major media outlets like Bloomberg and all those. He's been on a lot of those interviews. Never been in an interview with just a person that does YouTube videos. So one of the things he asked me that I was actually very surprised about was the fact that he asked me, hey, how do you think I did? And that actually caught me off guard. I was like, wait, what? He's asking me, how do I think I did? And I was like, do I tell him the truth or do I give him a lie? I'm like, what should I tell him, right? And I was like, do you want the truth or do you want a lie? And he said, I want the truth. I said, all right, 7.5. He said, out of 10. I said, yeah. I said, 7.5 out of 10, sir. Maybe 8. And he's like, why? And I said, man, you're really good, professional, you got all the terms, everything right. But when you're doing interviews for other people, think about it in the frame of mind of the audience that you're speaking to, right? So you're not talking to a journalist. It's not a business community that may be seeing it. It might be that everyday person that's launching their business or has a small mom and pop store. They're not necessarily watching all these big publications, right? So just talk to them where they're at. And he said, wow, that was incredible insight. Like, I'm gonna have to practice that. I'm like, yeah, it takes time, but that'll get you to 10. And he said, I appreciate it, right?
That's one thing to note too, even going back, like, you could be the most successful person in the world, but you're always going to learn, and you're going to learn from other people. It doesn't even matter their age. It doesn't matter their expertise. You know, like, you're going to learn from somebody else, and you're going to use that, you know, to even forward yourself. And if you're not willing to learn and you think that you know it all, trust me, you don't. I mean, as you can see, the president of Alibaba asking you, and he learned something in that aspect. You know, he's humble enough to be able to take that and make himself better.
Definitely. And I really appreciated that. I was like, yo, this guy's legit. Like, the fact that he would do this says a lot about him. And everybody around him was like, he does this all the time. Like, I usually lie. I'm like, no. I usually lie. So sometimes you can't trust the people around you.
This is also true because, you know, that's a good one. Before I get into this, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody that is submitting, you know, your friends and your family, coworkers, they're going to tell you you have the best designs in the world. They're going to say, oh my God, I love this. They're lying to you. Ask them to buy them. Watch how fast they lose their wallet. They're like, oh, well, you know what? I don't know where I put that. I'm sorry. I'll buy it next week. But guess what? They're not going to. All right.
They're because ignore your calls too.
Yeah. Everybody wants to lie and, you know, make you feel good because they're scared to tell you the truth. Unlike, I guess, us.
Yeah. So, we're open. We're here to build.
This is why we mean good for you. I'm telling you. So with this site here,
so we got Blessed.
Yes, Blessed Movement. They are targeting a specific audience, which is great because it lets you dial in on them. But the first thing I noticed as soon as you get to it, it says the Blessed Movement, empowering women of faith to shine. You don't need that as soon as you get to the site, because you have to remember people are shopping to buy things. If they want to know about you, they want to know more about the mission, they're going to go to the story or about or whatnot, right? They're going to make a purchase. So that I would either move that down to the bottom or a link. From there, I do like all these things. Like it says, GOAT, God over all things. You know, you go through that. But a lot of these pictures, they look like they were taken with a cell phone versus it being a nicer mock-up. And you could do a lot with AI now, where you could take that shirt, and you even have a video where you took a shirt, took a picture, and put it on somebody in seconds. Yep. So using things like Nano Banana will, you know, throw you over everything right there, just because you're able to do this now instantly and really within seconds. With that being said, like as you see, like this one with a tree, you know.
Oh yeah, that's super. Like they looked like they took the photo and then they photoshopped it.
Yeah. But one thing that I really noticed as soon as I clicked on it, this one here, if I can get back to it, because now it disappeared. Hold on one second. Sweatshirts, click on this one. It goes back into, you know, I clicked on sweatshirts, and now I'm learning more about the sweatshirts itself instead of going right to the sweatshirts.
All right, there's a big paragraph right at the front. Yep.
And then if I click on one like this one, I don't have any extra pictures.
Okay. Just that one flat lay.
And then as I scrolled down, I was curious. So I went to shipping information, and it says, I'm a shipping policy. I'm a great place to add more information about your shipping methods, packaging, and costs. So it's not a complete thing. Product info. I'm a product detail. I'm a great place to add more information about your product. So you didn't fill out any of the product information, the shipping information, refund exchanges. You only have one picture. And a lot of the website itself is talking about who you are, who your mission is, and things like that. Whereas you should save that and put that down somewhere else.
So a big part of what George is saying here is that you went too hard on the mission and too hard on your text, because it's very text heavy here for what it is that you're doing. And you didn't do enough visuals, right? So like a big part of seeing this is like, I could actually, even on one of the photos, I could see the tag on the shirt more than I can see the design. Like I almost saw the hang tag first over the design, right? Yeah. So like even how you take your photography, like putting it on a person to really depict that. So like to George's point, the Blessed Movement, empowering women of faith to shine. like what visual could that be depicted by, right? So it could have been like women at a park wearing the clothes, happy,
Yeah, like a nice banner for it. That would work.
Banner picture.
Yeah.
That would just encapsulate the mission right from an image versus relying on all of the text. So always think about how can you say more with less? Meaning, like, can you say more with less through images, or can you condense all of those words to maybe like a couple words would say that entire sentence. And today with AI, it's easier than ever because you can actually just literally put your long prompt and say, hey, can you reduce this to, X amount of characters? And once you do that, you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the more simple you make it, the better. I mean, if you overcomplicate something, customers are going to leave. They don't want to think. They just want to, buy. Most purchases are made off of impulse.
Yeah.
So as soon as you hit them with the emotional connection, it's an impulse buy.
Yep.
So you don't want to sit there and try to give them too much because they're going to feel overwhelmed.
Yep. And then your imagery, just take a little bit of time and improve those photos. If you could do that, you have some pretty cool designs. Like in terms of the messaging itself, I see it's a little bit thought out. I mean, I see that sold out. I am bright 16-ounce glass cup. That was an interesting design. Like, I don't know,
except for the tree behind it. I'm very confused on the tree, and then the tree takes away from the cup.
Yeah, it does. You're like, what is this? Are you selling a plant?
Yeah.
So think about that in your photography. Keep it simple. Invest in a little bit of the mock-ups or better photos. Even if you're going to use a cell phone, use AI to enhance that photo with AI. Put it on a model. And are we good behind the scenes? Everything is rolling? Cool. Just making sure that we are still live.
And the big thing here too is if you want to sell something, I know in this case the price point is decent. But say if you ever wanted to increase that price, the photos is what increases that price. The more luxurious it looks is how you can charge all that extra money. So, right now your price point's at $30, which is perfectly fine. But say if you ever want to get $50, $60, $70, that's where it comes down to being able to target that person, which you are because your website is designed for a specific customer, but then your pictures will perceive the value.
Incredible. So then from this website, I think a lot of times pricing is obviously predicated on who's going to buy, right? So like your pricing should match the market. So like somebody that lives in the hood is not going to buy a $200 sweatshirt. I mean, maybe they would.
They probably would.
Never mind. No. Bad example. Example. Somebody that
I've seen some nice cars. So
no, you're right. Bad example. I mean, I'm saying like, for instance, maybe somebody that values like versatility over luxury wouldn't necessarily buy the $1,000 hood or the $200 hoodie, but they may buy the $500 North Face jacket, right? So like your price point should also match the customer that you're trying to target.
But then you also have to go down to the quality too.
Right.
Because you can't sell something high and then it dies. I mean, I always like to use Gucci as an example because I do have a Gucci wallet, right? But before that, I had Michael Kors, I had Coach. I would replace that every 3 to 6 months. I have not replaced my Gucci wallet in 6 years and it still looks brand new.
Because of the quality of that.
Exactly. And you would think, well, I mean, how much is the Michael Kors? $80, $100, something like that. Every 6 months, it adds up. Buying that Gucci wallet, and it's been 6 years, and it still looks brand new. It just finally, just now, started. One of the stitches came out, and I probably could, hit it with a lighter if I wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to.
That's incredible. How much was that wallet?
Babe, how much was that wallet?
Guesstimate.
Oh man.
He's like, I don't know.
She bought it for me. I was like, it's my birthday. What? She said, what do you want? I said, Gucci wallet. I don't ever ask for anything. Right. So when I ask for something, she knows I want something. She's gonna get it for me.
And a lot of that really is based on I'm always willing to pay more for something that's great quality because I can use it for years. And it's almost like the life of that product is paying for itself.
Exactly.
Versus like getting something cheap and you got to throw it out in 3 months or 4 months. Yeah. So that's a good point. 600.
600.
And it's lasted him 8 years.
6 years. 6 years. So $100 a year.
And you were buying a wallet every 6 months.
Yeah, I mean the Coach wallet's like what, $100? Yeah. I mean that thing would it just went to crap within 6 months.
Yeah.
So I went to Michael Kors because you would think that Stefanio like leather would be better, and still again it would get crap within 6 months.
Interesting.
So it was really weird on the way that worked.
Oh, interesting. Awesome, guys. All right. So we just did a brand review. We've been diving into.
By the way, hopefully Michael Kors doesn't see this and start attacking your channel now. You're going to be like, yeah, oh yeah, that's what you think?
Let's say Michael Kors more so they put ads on it.
Yeah, Michael Kors.
Michael Kors. Gucci. Balenciaga.
Yeah.
Aloe Yoga. Lululemon. We're going to get ads served. So if you guys comment, if you got one of the ads at the beginning or right now after this comment. That's how they serve the ads, guys. Okay. So we just dove into a deep masterclass in marketing, right? How do you position something? How do you actually launch something? How do you think about entrepreneurship when you're getting started? So before we take off, we have maybe 2 questions from the audience. Let's go to the audience questions that we had queued up. And 2 of them came from your audience, and then I have 1 or 2 from my audience that we pulled. Should be one of the docs there. You don't have to show those. You could just read it up to us. Yeah, the names.
Lindsay says, I've heard you say you don't recommend running Etsy ads, and why?
So Lindsay says you don't recommend running Etsy ads. Why?
I do not. Etsy ads are based off of the keywords. They're not really targeting specifically to that customer. They're targeting the keyword itself. In addition to that, Etsy's a business. So if you're not making them money, they're not going to show you more. So you don't pay unless somebody clicks, right? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that they have to show your product. If they're not getting clicks, guess what? They're going to show them to less people. In addition to that, you can't target. Whereas Facebook, I could target specifically that customer. And Facebook is going to spend your money no matter what. So hopefully you know how to target and you know who your customer is. But if you do, you'll make so much more money. And a lot of people say, well, you're getting Etsy, you're using outside ads. So Etsy is just not going to advertise you. That is complete BS. They're a company. They want to make money. If you are bringing them traffic and making money, they're going to push you on that first page organically to make them even more money. And that's a big thing that a lot of people don't understand. Plus, you can't use an FB pixel in your listing. And that's where a lot of people go, well, if I can't use an FB pixel, why would I even do it? That doesn't mean Etsy doesn't use FB pixels on their website. So when somebody's looking for a specific, say, t-shirt, and then you're advertising to that customer, when they go to Facebook, they know that they were looking for that shirt on Etsy. They're going to see your ad. They're going to click it. They were just on Etsy. They're going to buy it.
Etsy as a platform is using a pixel.
Exactly.
So
maybe you're not able to do it as a listing itself, but that doesn't mean that they're not using the Facebook pixel because they run ads on Facebook themselves.
But now you're running ads for them. So they want to give that data customers back. Wow. Incredible. Guys. So one of the things he just mentioned that he put me onto is, keyword on Etsy is so for those of you guys that haven't heard of keywords are like, the key categories, the key words that somebody may be looking for. So for instance, a Christian women's sweater, right? Like that's a keyword, or a running shirt for male, or a marathon shirt for dad, right? Like the more you can get specific with the keyword, the more niche you go down. So if you start to advertise on Etsy, you're advertising keywords. You're not necessarily targeting customers, and you're saying that if your listing isn't doing good on the keywords, they just stop showing your ad, and you're not spending money, but you're not making money either.
And a lot of people use very basic keywords. That's why that comes up. So they don't actually dial into what the customer is actually searching for, and they'll just use those keywords like shirt for her, shirt for woman, shirt, and then they'll add 1 or 2 like raccoon, and that's it. So you only have 1, 2, maybe 3 at most of what the actual shirt is. So of course Etsy doesn't know either. They're just putting you in the same category as all shirts.
Incredible, guys. That's powerful information right there. Next question. Which question we got next?
Michaela says, how do I get my first sale?
How do I get my first sale from Michaela?
All right. So
this is a fun one for you.
Yeah, fun one. All right, Michaela.
I get this one all the time. George, what do you recommend?
You're never going to kiss. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Michaela. Please do not leave. Don't leave. She probably left. All right. So again, it comes down to you displaying that item in a way that's going to stop that scroll. It's so important because we're very fast. And it's getting worse. If you ever watch somebody on, say, TikTok or Instagram, as they're scrolling through, you'll only have 1 to 2 seconds to grab their attention. So if you can't grab that with a picture, you're never going to be able to stop them from scrolling. They're scrolling super hyper fast. And as the younger demographic, they don't even stop at all half the time, right? So first thing is you need to have a good, well, actually, let me start over. The first thing you need to know is who your customer is, because you need to be able to create designs for them. Then from there, make the mock-up towards that customer. And then the third thing would be your SEO, because you need to be able to know what they're searching. A grandma doesn't search the same way that, a 25-year-old searches. So you can use Amazon, use their predictive text, or go to something on the first page of Amazon that's similar to yours and see what keywords they're using. Amazon makes $2 billion a day. They're not putting stuff that's not going to make them money on that first page. So use that as your example, not the listing itself, but the keywords. Add those keywords to your listing. And then from there, hammer the crap out of them with ads. Anybody that thinks that you could do this organically, and say if you are listing on Etsy and not Shopify, you do have to get yourself traffic. But on Etsy, so many people like to say, well, Etsy brings in the customers. But who says that they are your customer? Right. Nobody. So you need to still run ads. When you see a successful company, it's like, wow, they made how much money in this month? They're running ads, whether that's Etsy ads, Facebook ads, Pinterest ads, Instagram ads. They're running some sort of advertisement.
They're bringing traffic to that page in order to get that sale.
So understand who your customer is, make mockups for them, do the SEO for them, and run ads to them.
How do you recommend people get over the idea of like, hey, if I'm listing my products and I'm getting customers on Etsy, they're not my customers because I don't have their data? How is it that you recommend people build that relationship and maybe capture that sale externally or to your store in the future?
I am huge in email marketing. I actually sold my physical business because of my email marketing. I sold the business. They don't own the Etsy. They don't own the name. They literally just wanted my customer data because I had over 50,000 emails. Oh. That's all they wanted. And it was because it was accumulated. This is way before Etsy would hound you over and over with emails. But I offered things. So I collected their email and gave them VIP listing of, not in the sense that a lot of people right now are thinking a VIP is like, oh, we just launched a new product. Well, who the hell cares? Okay. I would do drops specific for that email person. I would post it online and on Instagram and say, hey, I'm dropping this mug right now for my email subscribers. Well, actually, afterwards, I'd say that. I would drop it to my email subscribers, okay? Then I would post it online and say, hey, thank you, everybody, for purchasing this. Only for my email subscribers, blah, blah, blah. It created that FOMO effect. Now, more people want to sign up for the email because they were getting exclusive deals that nobody else had access to.
Okay, so that's how you capture a sale outside of the platform.
Yes, and you need to have them opt in for the email because, yes, all their customers are theirs unless they opt into an email. But in order to get their email, you have to give them something. It's all about value. So they're giving you their email or their phone number. I collect a lot of phone numbers, right? But what are you giving them? Giving them a newsletter? Giving them a, 10%. Oh, I just dropped this, Becky, go buy it. No, who the hell cares? They can see that anyway if they go to your shop. Give them something exclusive, drop it. And then they grab more people, post afterwards and be like, hey, that's email marketing. That's just marketing in general. Hey, this is only for these people.
Incredible.
Create that FOMO effect.
Amazing advice there, guys. And if you're getting started, this was actually unintentional. I think OmniSend is one of the platforms. What do you think about OmniSend, Klaviyo?
I've used OmniSend before. Yeah.
How do you like OmniSend against all the other competitors? Like,
They have great automation. They're pretty good at doing that, and it makes it easy for people that don't know how to actually set up automation because it's all pre-done already.
Yeah.
So when I first started doing email marketing and you were doing automation, they didn't have preset. You had to figure that crap out yourself. And if you didn't understand web development, which I went to school for web development and I still didn't understand it, it was very time consuming. Now you have it where you can actually send email, send text, do A/B testing, and it's just a click of a button and it sets it all up for you, which is pretty cool.
It's incredible because I had Klaviyo for many years, and then when I tried OmniSend, I was like, yo, this made it so easy to create these flows I had created because Klaviyo is kind of intimidating, but it's powerful, but it's intimidating if you're just getting into email marketing, where OmniSend was like, super simple to onboard and then start to capture, like the landing, the pop-up came up.
They have different
clean.
options for pop-ups.
Yeah,
They have the little
options.
spinner wheel. If you ever seen that,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's cool. It's up to you.
They got a lot of
but they have
options.
birthday ones, and you can actually set them specific to people too.
Yep, that was really cool.
So if it is their birthday and it is coming up, and this is where targeting comes up, especially for Facebook ads, you can target that person, give them a special link, they go to it, and they'll get that pop up.
Yep. So can you pull up omnisend.com real quick? Share it on the screen. Omnisend is one of the email platforms that honestly is making entrepreneurship a lot simpler, especially when you're selling on Shopify. They have these automations. They recently got the AI subject line as well as body. So like now, even if you're not really sure what to write, you could just write a sentence about like what it is that you think that email's about, and then have AI improve it, which just saves a lot of time in the workflow. Because before I would copy it, paste it into ChatGPT, and then get like an option, then paste it back. So it was like a lot of back and forth. But now AI is built right into Omnisend's workflow, and they even make it where they can actually scan your email, and it'll suggest like maybe you should add images here or improve click-through rate by doing this. So that the AI tool on its own is a game changer when it comes to the email. And the best part about it is that it's absolutely free to start. So you guys can literally start your email marketing journey by plugging it up to your Shopify store. All you got to do is head on over to the App Store. We're going to link it in the description down below as well, in case you're not by your Shopify App Store. Click on the link in the description and then literally install it to your Shopify store. And then within minutes, you're up and running. You got a landing page, a pop-up. You can start collecting those emails and do what George said in regards to giving value in return for them giving you that information.
And really quick, you mentioned that it's free, but their paid version is cheap. It's
cheap, yeah. It's very low.
Yeah,
it's very low. I mean,
when you see how much they offer from the free, if you do the drop down on the pricing, you see how much they offer for free. It's insane, just in that general. But then if you look at their pricing, you're like, how are you offering all of this? Compare that to somebody else, and you're going to be like, how do they do it?
Yeah.
But either way, it's a great deal.
It's a great deal. Even when you upgrade, it's going to literally be at a %. It's going to be a great discount from all the other competitors, and they have all the tools that you need to not only start but to really grow it. So I really enjoyed it. I enjoy using Omnisend and been using them for the last like year and a half, 2 years now, and they're an incredible platform. So we're going to link it in the description down below. We're showing you guys what that looks like now. Just go in, get started. It's absolutely free. All right, George. Man, it's been incredible having you in the studio. And one of the questions I asked all my guests before we leave, and I asked you, so in an upcoming video, we have George joining us for a masterclass. Incredible video, by the way. It's super jam-packed. So if you guys are a subscriber, make sure you guys are on the lookout for this Saturday's video. George is in there, as well as many other print-on-demand sellers and people that you may have seen on YouTube. They all joined us in this masterclass. Incredible gems and value there. So make sure you guys check that out on Saturday.
The only person that matters is me.
Yeah. He's there. He dropped some good game. You guys will learn a little bit more about him. So what would you say to the George that before he started his business, you're going back, what is one, if there was only one thing you could tell that George, right? What would you tell him to maybe help him where he was at a moment where he was at his worst? So it could have been 16-year-old George. It could have been 19-year-old George. What piece of advice would you have given that George now that you've lived to what you've done today?
Like something inspirational or just in general? Maybe we'll just stick with general first. Is got a hot fucking wife.
Everything works out.
Everything works out. Okay, we'll do that one. All right. Motivational, same thing. Everything works out.
Works out. You got a hot wife. That means you're doing something right.
Yeah. I'm not just saying this because she's here. I mean, people have seen her before. So yeah.
That's incredible advice. I mean, then we could just leave it there. All right, you guys, where can they find you?
George D. McConnell on YouTube. That's where I am. And I also have a course, Etsy Mentor. Search it up on School. It's only $1 a month, and it comes with a 7-day free trial. There's over 35 hours of content on there that'll make sure that you get 5-6 figures within a month.
Incredible. We're going to link it in the description down below as well, guys. So make sure you guys are subscribed here to this channel. Go on over, subscribe to George. And then on Saturday, we got a special video coming out. So make sure you guys get your popcorn ready. Turn off those cartoons. Take that TV away from the kids. it's your time to turn in front of that TV and learn some lessons. And make sure you guys are downloading all the free game that we're linking in the description down below at fromthegroundup.io. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you all for joining us live, and leave us a comment for the next one.